Hi again, everyone. Gary Digital Williams here on the Boxing on the Beltway Podcast Network. And the Boxing on the Beltway Podcast Network can be heard on Spreaker, Stitcher, iHeartRadio. We're on TuneIn. We're on Spotify, Podcast Addict, and we're on Google Podcasts. And of course, we can also be heard on my Twitter page, which is at Digital25. We're on the Boxing on the Beltway Podcast page, Podcast Network page on Facebook, and we're on YouTube page. Just look for my page, Gary Williams. And a lot to talk about this week. We have some big events coming up. Of course, we had the big one coming up on Saturday, October 31st. But we have some other bouts going on coming up, and actually, as we record this tonight, as well as some future bouts. We have some changes to them coming up in the next couple of weeks. And we're going to review, I should say, the tough loss from Malik Hawkins this past week. So a lot to talk about here on the Boxing on the Beltway Podcast Network, which is brought to you as always by Real Time Pain Relief. From boxers to ballerinas, for shoulder pain and muscle strain, everything between. Boxing Along the Beltway recommends Real Time Pain Relief, the natural, plant-based, safe, fast, effective ointment. Go to freepainoffer.com, buy $10 worth of Real Time Pain Relief. You get a free $10 tube of Real Time Pain Relief. The pain relief now endorsed by two-time world heavyweight champion Big George Foreman. So try his knockout formula for real-time pain relief. Rub it on. The pain is gone in real time. And by DeborahSpears.com. She has great weight loss tips as always, great jewelry, and great training methods. All at Deborah, Debra Spears.com. Well, this past Friday night, Saturday night, October 24th, Baltimore, Maryland super lightweight Malik Iceman Hawkins was stopped in the 7th round by Subriel Brownie Matias of Fajardo, Puerto Rico. The fight took place at the Mohegan Sun Casino in Uncasville, Connecticut. It was part of a triple header shown on Showtime. And unfortunately, this bout pretty much went the way I thought it would. I said in my last podcast that I thought this was the wrong fight for Malik Hawkins against Subriel Brownie Matias of Fajardo, Puerto Rico. I really thought it was the wrong fight for Malik Hawkins at this time. I didn't think he was ready for it. And after watching Matias close up and seeing how he comes forward, constantly comes forward, I didn't think Hawkins had the power or, quite frankly, the boxing ability to really keep Matias off. He didn't do that. He started well in the first round, used his jab effectively, but he found it difficult as the fight went on to keep the forward charging Matias off. And Matias was very effective with punches to the head and the body, and Hawkins had little defense against Matias' offense. So eventually the ringside doctor said that Hawkins could not continue, and the bout was stopped in the first second of the 7th round. So really a tough loss for Malik Hawkins. It was a loss he will bounce back from. He's still young, so he will bounce back from it, but just really a really tough loss. So Malik Hawkins loses for the very first time. He's now 18-1, 11 KOs. Matias bounced back from his first pro defeat, and he's now 16-1, all 16 of his wins coming by way of KOs. So, again, Malik Hawkins will bounce back from that, and he will continue to be a very good boxer, no question about that. Now, coming up tonight as we record this, Friday night, October 30th, and this is about that kind of went under the radar a little bit. In fact, I almost thought the fight didn't take place because FightNews.com didn't even put their weights on their listing of their scale watch this time around, but other people did, so I was able to find out that bout was taking place. And this is a bout between Lamont Roach Jr. out up in Marlboro, Maryland. He'll take on Neil John Tabanao of the Philippines. Coming up tonight at the Fantasy Springs Casino in Indio, California. This bout will be streamed on DAZN. Now, this will be the first bout for Lamont Roach Jr., 19-1-1, 7 KOs, since his unanimous decision loss to Jamel Herring for the WBO Super Featherweight title. That was back on November 9th in Fresno, California. Meanwhile, Tabanao, who's of Mandaue City in Cebu, Philippines, he's 17-7, 11 KOs. He's going to try to break a 3-bout losing streak that includes a 10-round unanimous decision loss in his last bout to Irving Torrebiartes, that's his name, in August of 2019 in Hermosillo, Mexico. So, again, this is going to be a nice step for Lamont Roach Jr. Hopefully he'll be able to bounce back from that loss. He had Jamel Herring, which I thought he fought overall pretty well, but he was not really in Herring's class, and that's why he lost the bout. So, but again, should be an interesting bout going on DAZN coming up in the next couple of hours, matter of fact, in Fantasy Springs Casino in Indio, California. So best switch to Lamont Roach Jr. Of course, everybody's talking about the big one coming up Saturday, October 31st. Tomorrow, as we record this, as Gervonta Tank Davis and Leo Santa Cruz, El Terremoto Santa Cruz, face off at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, Texas. Now, there's no problem with Gervonta Davis making weight. He did weigh behind a towel going into the weigh-in, but he weighed in right away. He came in at 129.8 pounds. So he'll be able to get in with no problem. Santa Cruz came in at 129.6 pounds. And this will be a big bout, no question about that. And as I talked about a little bit during the podcast, our last podcast, I really think this bout really hinges on one important point. Whoever can make the other person change their strategy during the bout will win it. And because you got two guys who love to come forward, two guys are going to battle. No question about that. Should be a very good fight, in all honesty. Should be a very good fight. And I think whoever changes the other person's game plan will win this fight. And I really think Davis has the ability to do that with the slightly older Leo Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz is 32 years old, and he's been around there a little bit. He's been around a little bit. And I think that may cost him. I don't know. I mean, Santa Cruz is a great fighter, 4-time world champion. But I don't think he's fought a boxer with the skill set that Gervonta Davis has. And I think that'll be a major difference in this bout. Davis has not fought anybody that has really the skill set that Santa Cruz, with the possible exception of the guy in his last bout, and that was Yurkus Gamboa, another guy who is really kind of long in the tooth, but still a very credible fighter and quality fighter. I think Santa Cruz may make a mistake because he really wants to try to bring Gervonta Davis into so-called deep water and take him out from there. The only problem is Davis has done that. Davis did that in his last fight because Yurkus Gamboa took Davis to the 12th round, and then Davis knocked him out in the 12th round. So I really believe that Santa Cruz, if that's his game plan, it may be the wrong game plan in this case. And I think Davis may end up changing Santa Cruz's game plan. I think Davis is going to win this bout by at least a 10-round TKO because I really believe that Santa Cruz has not seen the skill set that Gervonta Davis has. And really, this fight for Davis really kind of begins his legacy. Now, this is a guy that I've had the pleasure of following ever since his amateur days, really. I mean, I saw him in the Golden Gloves. I actually did the ring announcing for his very last amateur bout in Baltimore. And I've seen him a few times as a pro. I saw him in D.C. I saw him at when he headlined at Coppin State University, and a couple of times in Baltimore. So this is for Davis's legacy, and I really believe that he does want to be the next pay-per-view star, and he's the first pay-per-view star out of the Beltway since Hasim Rahman. But I think in this case, Davis wants to continually be on pay-per-view. He's in a situation now where his bouts, if he can win and win impressively on Saturday, his bouts will only be on pay-per-view. He will not be on free TV because he's going to be that type of boxer. And we really haven't had that type of boxer here in the Beltway. Really want to go back to Mark Johnson, and then even before then, Sugar Ray Leonard. These are guys, and even Mark Johnson was in a situation where, as great as he was, he could not get those major league bouts against those major league opponents, probably because they avoided him like the plague. And I think that's so interesting to me. I believe that is really as much why Mark Johnson is in the Hall of Fame as his successes as a boxer. In fact, that so many boxers feared him going into his career. And so, the Johnny Tappies, the Danny Romero, these guys, Yuri Abashkov, these guys feared Mark Johnson. And I think that's part of the reason why he's in the Hall of Fame. Gervonta's in a situation where if he beats Leo Santa Cruz, he's got so many boxers who can make some major league paydays with him. That can do. Teofimo Lopez is now in the picture. Devin Haney possibly, Gary Russell Jr. So he needs this win, and this win impressively, to really put himself in that high echelon of boxers. And I think he'll get it. I really do. I think he'll get that win on Saturday. So we'll see what happens. It's on a Showtime pay-per-view, and it should be a great one. Gervonta Davis putting up his WBA lightweight title, his I won't say interim, but it's like his regular lightweight title against Santa Cruz's WBA super lightweight title, and both titles will be on the line on Saturday, October 31st, from the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, Texas. There'll be a 20% capacity of people there in attendance, and it should be a great bout. No question about that. Now, some future bouts for Beltway boxers. There's been some changes in Beltway boxers, their bouts. And some boxers have come off. Some people may be added on. Some people have had their opponents change. So a lot to talk about coming up in the next few weeks. And we're going to start off with undefeated DC boxer Dusty Hernandez Harrison. He has pulled out of his Friday, November 27th bout against Demetrius Andrade at the Seminole Hard Rock Casino in Hollywood, Florida, because of his reported weight issues. We talked about that briefly when this bout was announced, that Dusty fought at 175 at light heavyweight in his last bout on February 8th when he knocked out Les Sherrington in Vienna, Virginia, Tyson's Playground, Vienna, Virginia. And by that point, after that fight, he had blown up to about 200 pounds, maybe a little over 200 pounds. And between now and November 27th, that was a lot of weight to lose in a short period of time. And I don't think they could do it. So Harrison, 34-0 with one draw, 20 KOs. He is coming out of that bout. And right now, there's no word on who Andrade's next opponent will be. But there are some rumors floating around that one of the possibilities to be Andrade's next opponent will be another Beltway boxer. His name, Demetrius Big Meech Ballard, out of Temple Hills, Maryland. He's another undefeated boxer. He has not fought since December 5th of last year when he battled Yamaguchi Falcao to a 10-round draw in Costa Mesa, California for the vacant NABF middleweight title. And normally, Demetrius Ballard fights it as super middleweight, sometimes a light heavy, but he fought at a middleweight in that bout against Falcao in Costa Mesa, California last year. And he went to a draw there. Ballard is 20-0-1, 20 wins, no losses, one draw with 13 KOs. So it's a possibility that Ballard may take Harrison's place in that bout. We have to wait and see on that. There's no word on that, but Demetrius Ballard is in the running for that particular bout. And by the way, Columbia, Maryland super middleweight Ashton the Goon Sykes, he's 5-3, 1 KO. He's still scheduled to be on this card at the Seminole Hard Rock and Casino Hollywood, Florida. When he takes on undefeated Alexis Espino of Las Vegas, Nevada, he's 6-0 with 4 KOs. That bout is either scheduled for 4 rounds or for 6 rounds. So we'll see what happens there. Meanwhile, there have been reports that Hagerstown, Maryland super middleweight, the sexy Albanian Yank Plana, he'll have a new opponent for his Saturday, November 21st contest at the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Now, Brandon Robinson's scheduled to be on the bout, but he has been taken off the card. No word as to why he's been taken off the card. This is the King's Promotions card, by the way. And his opponent will be a guy who is supposed to be on this card against another boxer, but he'll step into this bout, which I believe is the main event. His name is Kaynell Wheeler. He's from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. He's going to replace Robinson in this 6-round contest. Now, Wheeler is 4-0 with 4 knockouts, all 4 knockouts coming in the first round. It's an interesting bout there. Wheeler needed just 37 seconds to win his last bout against Patrick Pierre back on December 14th in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Plana is 8-2-1 with 4 KOs. He's coming off a tough loss. So we will see. I mean, that'd be an interesting situation there. Wheeler has gone 6 rounds before, or at least I should say, he has been scheduled to go 6 rounds, but he hasn't done that. He's been knocked out fighters in all 4 bouts in the first round. So that should be very interesting to see. That's on Saturday, November 21st at the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So, as I said, a lot going on, starting to get going on, and we'll see what happens come November and December. In fact, we have a number of boxers that are fighting in November, and we'll talk about that in the next few podcasts coming up. A couple of quick tributes before we get out of here. Just heard today, as a matter of fact, that one of the great defensive backs in football history, NFL history, passed away. Herb Adderley. Herb Adderley played for both the Green Bay Packers and the Dallas Cowboys. Won the first 2 Super Bowls with the Packers. In the second Super Bowl against the Raiders, he returned an interception 60 yards for a touchdown. And he also won one with the Dallas Cowboys, Super Bowl 6. He won with the Dallas Cowboys. I had the privilege of actually seeing him be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1980. He was in a good class, really solid class with Bob Lilly, the one of the stalwarts of the fearsome foursome. Not fearsome foursome, the Doomsday defense for the Dallas Cowboys. He was the defensive lineman. Offensive lineman, great center, Jim Otto from the Raiders was in that class. And one of my favorite players, the sack master himself, the original sack master, Deacon Jones, who played for the Rams, played for the Chargers, and he did play a couple years with the Washington football team. So, great class, privileged to see him up there. Great day that was, no question about that. And so, Herb Adderley passed away. He was 81 years old. And on the wrestling front, a guy that you had to be kind of a real wrestling fan to really know him. So I don't expect everybody just to know this guy, but he really was a really solid worker and a lot of fun to watch. His name was Tracy Smothers. Tracy Smothers wrestled many federations. I got to see him first in WCW, NWA, WCW. He and Steve Armstrong, one of the Armstrong brothers. They wrestled together as the Wild Eyes Southern Boys as well as the Young Pistols. They not only did it in WCW, NWA, they also did it in the Continental Territory in Alabama. And they were really good in the Continental Territory. They had some really good matches with guys like the Nightmares, people like that. Great team. I also saw him in Smoky Mountain Wrestling, Jim Cornette's territory in North Carolina, in the mountains of North Carolina. He was one of the top faces in that territory. He wrestled, I should say, as Freddie Joe Floyd in the WWE. He was really kind of enhancement talent there, but he did wrestle with some really good people like Steve Austin, people like that. And in a weird situation, he was in ECW as a member of a faction known as the FBI, which stood for the Full-Blooded Italians. Now, I think only Little Guido might have been the only quote-unquote Italian in that faction. But one of the other people in that faction was another guy who was very popular down south, Tommy Wildfire Rich, who was known as the Big Don. Don't ask me why. And I never forget there was a video. It was out. I don't think it's out anymore. But it was a video of full-blooded Italians doing the song "What's the Matter You" with the play-by-play announcer ECW Joey Styles. Very hilarious. Tracy Smothers, very good wrestler, very good hand, and he passed away. He had cancer, and he passed away very young age of 58, and he had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And he passed away. So really tough loss there. So just some short tributes to talk about that to round out our podcast this week. So again, coming up some great matches coming up, especially David Santa Cruz. I think that has, I don't know if it's going to match how good Vasily Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez is. I think a lot depends on how well both these guys really come to fight. It's going to be a good one, though. No question about that. That's going to be Saturday, October 31st. That'll do it for another edition of the Boxing on Beltway Podcast Network. Once again, the Boxing on Beltway Podcast Network brought to you by Real Time Pain Relief. Go to freepainoffer.com. Buy $10 worth of Real Time Pain Relief. Get a free $10 tube of Real Time Pain Relief, now endorsed by two-time World Heavyweight Champion Big George Foreman. Try his knockout formula on Real Time Pain Relief. Rub it on. The pain is gone in real time. And by DeborahSpears.com. Great weight loss tips, great jewelry, and great training methods at Deborah, Debra Spears.com. Thanks for joining us. I'm Gary Digital Williams. Thank you all for your support of Boxing Along the Beltway. And always remember to keep supporting the best boxing in the world, the Boxing Along the Beltway. Thanks for listening. Take care.